Let's move on to the Premier League, shall we? Why are we talking Premier League? Well, clubs are set to vote Monday on whether or not to add a hard spending cap to the updated squad cost, that's what they're calling it, rules that are going to go into effect in the 2025-2026 season. The suggestions here that the big spenders would only be able to spend a multiple, for now the multiple is 5 times, what the lowest earning clubs get from the league's broadcast and commercial deals. Herc? Some folks think the Premier League is copying Major League Soccer. Herculez Gomez, what say you?
Are they copying Major League Soccer? Not necessarily. Are they trying to...
But it's a salary cap.
Well, it is a salary cap. They're not the first ones to try to implement or to even float the idea, right? Because this is just an idea that's being floated at the moment.
Yes.
We saw this maybe about a year ago with the Bundesliga, same type of thing. Listen, you've got to do something. Forget about Major League Soccer for a second, and we'll get back to it. But you got to do something that prevents these leagues from being monopolized in the wrong type of way, from these leagues to only see one winner in its decade. You go to the Bundesliga, for the longest time, it was just Bayern Munich, Bayern Munich, Bayern Munich. You look at the Premier League now, it looks like it's going to be Manchester City again. It's going to be Man City again. You look at the La Liga, it's a 2-horse race. Serie A, for the longest time, was a 1-horse race. It was just Juventus. You've got to do something. Forget about parity, just so it doesn't slip away with the haves and have-nots. And then the teams that are owned by states, the teams that are owned by oil money, like how do you combat that type of greed in the sport? Maybe this works. Maybe this helps. Is it Major League Soccer-esque? Sure, in the same way that Major League Soccer does what the NBA did, or does what the NFL did, or does what MLB did. Whatever the case may be, you have to do something to level the playing field for all.
I think this is a little different from the MLS salary cap. I think the principal reason for this limitation on spending is to keep things competitive, right? The teams you're talking about at the high end of these leagues are state-owned. They've got, in some cases, literally infinite resources. And your teams that just come up from the championship, in this example, we're talking about England, are just never going to be able to compete. So this makes the league a little bit more competitive. I think if we're being honest about the salary cap in Major League Soccer or USL or any of the American leagues, right? Nobody's free of this. They're not to make the leagues more competitive. They're to cap costs,
right,
so that they can get more investors in the door, so that when they turn into the next billionaire owner who's going to kill Indy 11 or San Diego Loyal or whatever it's going to be, right, they can say, hey, look, when you do that for your $500 million, it's only going to cost you $20, $30 million a year to run the team. That's why there's a salary cap in the leagues here, to keep costs down.
So it has nothing to do with Manchester City having 115 charges against them. It has nothing to do with that type of thing either. We're going to just focus this on Major League. That's where you want to go.
Yeah, I think the reason that they're doing this is to keep it competitive. Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that's why? Do you think that's why MLS has low salaries, or do you think it's to
MLS has
suppress worker wages?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's part of it for sure.
Of course.
They keep using
Say the truth.
NASL. They keep using Okay, they keep using NASL as an excuse that NASL went down under because they had exorbitant spending back then. They weren't smart with their money, and we don't want that to happen. They keep using this excuse of why they're not allowing teams to spend more, when we see these reports per The Athletic where it's GMs, it's certain owners, it's players. Everybody wants the cap. They don't want to eliminate the cap, but they want the cap to increase. I think you can allow the cap to increase, and certainly a large portion of that is for the owners to control wages, but another part of that is, they want to be smart. They want good business. It's the same reason why the Bundesliga and other leagues have studied and analyzed this type of system.
Yeah. When you got single entity, you don't want your people competing against each other and driving up the cost of labor. It's a bad way to do business. Though it would be nice for the workers. I don't know. Maybe we think about them from time to time. Weren't you one of those workers back in the day? That's right. Yeah, that's right. You were a player in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, I make much more here, though.
Oh, good. I'm glad somebody's doing all right.